Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you guys are new here, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. So I wanted to come on here and talk about the situation with Toya Johnson-Rushing and her brother. Now I did a video earlier and we kind of talked about what was going on and between the two of them. It started with Toya brother Walter going on live basically saying he didn't get paid. And I think we kind of figured out what exactly he was talking about. But before we get into that, Toya actually responded. Well, let's go back. Walter responded to Toya's husband's live video. Now, if you guys remember, if not, let's get into it. Because Toya's husband came on live and this is what he had to say.
I don't be with that internet stuff. I don't be with that back and forth. I don't be doing stuff for the gram or, looking for no attention, validation or likes or none of that. I'm a real nigga. You know what I'm saying? Um, I haven't heard any interviews. I'm just hearing stuff here and there. I haven't listened to any interviews or anything like that. But, I heard something today and it was disturbing and it hit me. And, you know, I ain't really want to wait till I get home. I just wanted to address it on the internet. Um,
So, guys, I'm not going to go all the way back into that. You can check out my first video, and I kind of went over this. So, Toya's husband, Red, actually, this is like a whole skit that he's doing. So, basically, he came on live to say, Toya, you got $1 million? Where the money at? It was kind of funny, kind of cute. So, that's kind of what he did. But Walter had something to say after Red pretty much came on there and said that they did get paid. Not only did they get paid, is what Toya's husband is saying. He's like, look, I saw the money. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, $1 million. Well, this is what Walter had to say. Walter said, oh, Red. And then he add him or whatever. Bro, it's called chess, not checkers. But thanks for the promo. Nice vlog. You posted on your YouTube. But I guess that's what KC and he put Casey's handle on there meant when he said y'all won't push us off of love, but y'all will be quick to benefit off our trauma and pain. So from this, you know, what Walter said, what I'm gathering is Casey had to say something to Walter about what, had been going on previously. Because if you guys remember, Walter just got out not that long ago. Hadn't been on the show. I just realized that, he had been in jail for 20 years, which, um, goes to show that he didn't get a chance to attend his brother's funeral unless, they let him come to the funeral in jail. And you guys, if you're familiar with that, a lot of times when people are in jail or prison, they won't even bring them to funerals. So it looks like Casey put Walter up on game like, hey, this is what's happening. But what Casey has said that is what Casey is saying is it seems like what he thinks is they won't be kicked off the show, but that they're going to pretty much be exploited based on their trauma. Now, let me finish reading this and then I'm going to kind of get into what I'm wanting to say. He said, I get it. Honestly, though, pimp, you got more issues to worry about than focusing on the truth and receipts of the show. With all due respect, gangsta, I love you both, but this ain't for the show. The cameras are off, and this is now real life. I'll respond with the truth only. Enough is enough. And I'm woke, been woke for a minute now. Sorry if I can now see he's hashtagging all these people. Ask me if I care though. Lions and legends, go get it. Excuse me. So somebody put in the chat of my last video something about, I think what he's saying, what Walter is saying, and he's using words as he didn't get paid. I don't think that's what he meant. I think what he's saying is he didn't get paid enough for what he, portrayed on the show. If you guys, can kind of follow me, they're paid for a storyline. What he's saying is the show was centered around them. And, Toya and Reginae didn't have much of a storyline. So I think what he's saying is he should have gotten more. Y'all, correct me if y'all think that I'm wrong. But I really believe that is what he's saying because, excuse me, if you think about it, how could they have not gotten paid? Being that this is on WeTV, it would be almost impossible for them not to get paid because I am certain, that WeTV would have handled it in a manner to make sure everybody got paid. So I think what he's saying, what he mean and what he's saying, I think is two totally different things. So I don't think he's communicating that he didn't get paid, although that is what he's saying. I think what he means is he did not get paid for what he presented on the show. Just, listening to everything. But Toya did have something to say. And I want to get into what she actually said, with regards to this situation. Let's make sure that it's on the screen. Okay, it is. So Toya said, for the record, I don't decide what gets discussed on the show. You spoke to the producer, shared what you wanted to share, and that's what was filmed, just like we did. And yes, we absolutely say cut the cameras when things start going left. You have the right to do that also. Now, if you guys remember in my last video, Walter stated that Toya and Reginae are not really showing things that they don't want to show or things that they don't want to film. However, when it comes to the family, they're filming things that kind of make them look crazy is pretty much what he's saying. But Toya is like, look, you have the same right. We do say cut the cameras. You can say that as well. She said, if you didn't want to be on the show or share your story, you didn't have to. No one was forced to do anything. And for the record, everyone on our show was paid everything this man said in this rant is a lie. And that's the part I want to get to. I think what he's saying is he didn't get compensated for what he probably think he should. But, in all honesty, you guys know how that works. You're going to get paid what you agree to, regardless of what you produce, She said, I've shared my trauma and vulnerable moments since I've been on TV, and I've grown so much since then. Of course, my story has evolved. The only thing that hasn't changed is the hate and jealousy from you all. Yet, I still try. I try to give y'all opportunities, a platform to share your music and your lives, but somehow it's never enough. Now, I don't know what happened to the music. Maybe that's why they're upset, because I don't believe their music was ever showcased. Now, I know they speak about their music, but I didn't see it. Or maybe I missed it, but I just didn't see it. You had the best look on the show. Now, I have to agree with that. But now you claim I exploited you. The look you had was the same one I wanted for everyone. You were never genuine. From the first day of filming, you were already trying to connect with the network to get your own show. You've been a snake from the start, and that's the part that hurts the most, because after coming home, I really thought we turned a corner in our relationship. Your whole role on the show was fake for the cameras, and now I know once and for all, you never genuinely rock with me, and that's the sad part. So what she's saying is, she's saying that Walter actually tried to go to the network and get his own show. Now, I know that sounds really bad, but we got to look at it from a different perspective, because people see opportunities, and maybe he felt like that was his opportunity. I get it. He was on the show to be a cast member for her, but it seems like he's trying to do other things. And I don't know, But this is really bad. And this is pretty much, what Toya is saying. She's feeling like he went behind her back. And again, it just seems like if ever somebody won an opportunity, it can be a bad thing for some people because they're like, hey, I brought you here and this is what what you're doing. Now, some people in the comments is like, Toya needs to remove herself from them. And then somebody else is saying, I think everybody is just mad because she is the breadwinner and she made a name for herself. She isn't just Lil Wayne baby mama no more. She Toya. Okay. But let's kind of get into y'all what Toya actually said on her YouTube. So she had some things to say on her YouTube when asked about her relationship with Walter and Casey. And I want to get into that and see what she had to say about that. Just give me a moment.
Somebody said, what is your current relationship with Walter now? Walter, I don't really talk to Walter much. Again, like I said in the last recap, after the whole live thing with Walter, like I just cannot trust. Like it's like I don't like that. So it's just I just have to protect myself and my peace and my family. You know what I'm saying? Like it don't matter who it is. When you start to run to the internet with things, it's like you lose me. That's not love.
And honestly, like I really have to agree with her on this. I don't like the internet stuff either. I really truly don't, especially when you're dealing with people that know you genuinely to go to the internet. I had a situation some years back with my sister. And let me kind of explain to y'all what happened. Our brother had passed away. And y'all know how it can be, at funerals, but her side of the family, well, she's my sister because we had the same father, but her side of the family, which is her mom's side, because keep in mind we're sisters because we have the same dad, they decided that they were going to do this color scheme or something. They didn't tell us about it. We didn't even know about the color scheme. Also, when my brother died, he actually died in the car with his cousin. When speaking to my brother's mother, we're trying to figure out, okay, how do you want to do this? How do you want to do the funeral arrangements? She didn't have a lot of money, so we made suggestions like, hey, we know this person, you can go to her. She has a, nice, funeral home. She can do this, she can do that, because we're trying to hook her up because she don't have a lot of money. Well, once my sister came from Arizona, she decided, oh, well, we don't want, him there. So it just became a whole lot. And I'm just like, I didn't really have a lot of to say in it because his mother decides that. Well, I ended up having some words with her aunt, which is her mother's sister, simply because my brother received like disability or something. And I remember when he passed away, it was like a couple of days after he had gotten his check. So I'm like, well, if you don't got nothing, you would have his check because I mean, wouldn't it still be there? So it was just a whole bunch of stuff. And instead of my sister, who is much younger than me, speaking to me because they go on the internet. She went on the internet. She never said my name, but I knew she was talking about me. I don't play internet games. And when I tell you I don't mess with her now, I don't. And that's been a long time, a very long time. I don't play games like that. So I'm like, this girl goes on the internet and play with me. So I totally agree with Toya. Like, I don't play the internet games either.
And that's not family. That's very op behavior. But I will say this: Walter has been an amazing addition to the show. I love like how he was there for me during the time of filming, and it's like it's hurtful to see how the switch went off when things didn't go his way after rapping with the show. That was very hurtful or whatever. We had a moment where he wanted his daughter to do interviews for the show, and they don't interview kids on our show. My daughter has never been interviewed, and they expressed that he didn't like it because he felt like he had such a big moment on the show, but they don't do that. So it's like they're not going to make an exception for you. And that's not enough to blow up. You got a moment. You were able to put your daughter on a show. You were able to show your beautiful storyline. And it's like, no matter, it just gives, no matter what you do, it's just never enough. So he blew up and they make the show and they this and they that. And which is fine. They are a beautiful addition to the show, like a lot to the show. They are a beautiful addition to the show. I love Walter's character on the show and how far, you know, he has come, like, or whatever. But it's like, when he reverted me back to the reason why we wasn't talking before he went to prison, and it just wasn't a good feeling to see that. You know, it kind of made me feel like, what was this real, or just was it for TV? Because it's like you hit a switch and then you went to going to the internet, going off on us, and it just became too much. But I will say this: Walter is my mama child that is very intelligent. You know, I
So you guys kind of can see where, you know, she's going with this. And I mean, I totally am with her on this. Like I said, I don't like the internet games, but let's kind of get into what, you know, Toya said with regards to Casey and, you know, Reginae. If you guys recall, there was that situation with them two at the house, which they said that they were not filming, but it got aired. So let's get into that. So I know in the last video I said it was a Ring camera. Apparently it was a producer who had his cell phone out. So let's kind of jump into that and see what Toya had to say about Casey.
and Casey for what happened between me and Casey for him to explode. What didn't we see? Okay, well, let me talk about that. So we were not filming during the time that things took place between me and Casey. We were actually on lunch. We were here. The crew were downstairs. We was upstairs eating. I was in and out cleaning up, so I was in and out the room with them, but they were all having a conversation. It was Gabby, Nay's friend, and Casey came over. I agreed to allow them to film this scene here, which I was very hesitant to do. I told the producers prior to filming that scene that I wasn't sure about doing that, but I ended up doing it anyway because, you know, I thought it was a beautiful moment to be able to have that conversation and come to some type of agreement, you know, for your son, if nothing else. So I agreed to do it or whatever, which I should have followed my first mind, but I didn't. And I would say that things just went left. I think it started with just a basic conversation between Nate and Casey, just basically talking about who's like who. It was some crazy stuff like that. Casey said that Reginae acts like him. According to everybody on his YouTube page, they are alike and this and this and that and that. Like, just stupid. And Reginae was like, no, I don't act like you. I act like my dad. And things escalated from there. She was like, that's a lie. I don't act like, you know how Nay is. I don't act like you. I act like Dwayne Carter. I act like my dad and I act like my mom. So Casey didn't like that. He was like, no, you act like the Johnsons. You act like me or whatever. And they was like, no, I act like my dad. And he was like, what the F you think your dad died? And then from there, here come the rah-rah, the craziness, just stupid. Like, it just didn't make no sense. Like, for that to be the problem because she said she act like her dad. That's her dad. Like, what in the world? I really didn't understand that at all. But that's how it started. So I came in a room and I asked Casey, I said, hey, Casey, I'm going to ask you to leave because now, you know, you getting a little out of character and y'all just going a little too far. So this a wrap. I'm going to ask you to leave. He refused to leave. It took like 3-4 people to get him out. He ended up breaking my front door, like trying to push back in after they were trying to get him out. It was a big commotion at the door, cussing, yelling. And here I come, already mad, going the fuck off. At this point, I'm like, you know, he trying to hit my daughter. And I'm like, if you put your hands on my daughter, you're going to jail. Like, this is just going too far. And you're a man and he's out of control and acting crazy at this point.
Okay, guys, so let's kind of get into that because this commenter right here is like reading my mind. And this is what one of these, you know, commenters said, y'all. So this person said, I think Casey is annoyed with Nay, like in a lot of situations. Nay will bring up her dad in some way or make reference of him, and it annoys Casey. kind of like someone always making themselves the center of attention. But in this case, Nate constantly makes her dad the center of attention along with the attitudes and smart remarks. Just what I think from the clips I see. I don't watch the show. Now, you know what? That's odd that she said that because obviously she wouldn't be, the one to blame for anybody's behavior, but I do believe that you can provoke somebody. Now, we have saw Casey be a little bit on edge when it comes to Wayne. I think it has something to do with some music. I'm not sure, but it does seem like that because if I'm having a conversation with, let's say, my niece, and I'm just going to put myself in Casey's situation. My niece know that I may be a little bit triggered by her dad. We having a conversation and I say, girl, you like me. And she say, no, I'm like my dad. So it does kind of seem like that. It does kind of seem like that. Not saying that she's responsible, but I think a smart mouth will get you every time. I remember being a young girl, I had uncles and I was talking slick and they was like, girl, we about to whoop your butt. I remember that. People keep calling her Regina. Is her name Regina or is it Reginae? Reginae mouth and her tone and the way she talks to people is the problem. It's not what you say, it is how you say it. Now, y'all was saying that in the comments before. Y'all done got on here talking about Nate triggers Casey. Everyone triggers Casey. Toya, Gabby, Walter, Casey triggers himself. Now, look, let's get into that. Now, Casey did say, and I know he has a lot of trauma based on these words alone. He said when he was in prison that he was jumped on by the guards. Imagine being in jail, prison, which is enough all in itself. But then the people who are supposed to be there doing their job and keeping down, the mess or keeping people from jumping you are actually beating you up. He got a lot of trauma. He does. He has a lot of trauma. And I don't take people trauma lightly. Like, I believe though that it does come a time where you have to separate from people. And I believe that time is now. I don't believe that they should probably be around each other. But I do believe that, he does suffer from some stuff. And let's kind of get into some of the things he said on his channel. So Casey does have a channel. I just happened to find it, but let's kind of get into. I may have to cut it off because I think he had like a cigarette that he was, and I may have to. So I'm gonna try to play as much of it as I can. But if he starts smoking that thing cigarette, I'm gonna have to cut it off.
Through this shit, I think everything gonna come together. I don't think I know. I know everything gonna come back together. It's just I gotta keep praying and keep putting one foot in front of the other and keep stepping. You hear me? Like stepping, because I know a lot of people praying on my downfall. Whether you know it or not, a lot of motherfuckers won't see me down. You hear me? Won't see me lose this shit. A lot of motherfuckers, you feel me? Pretenders, like they really won't see me win. The people don't want to really see me win for real. I know the ones that won't see me win. You hear me? Real talk. And like when you striving for greatness out here, the devil like attack more. Like he get in the ones that love you. You know what I'm saying? He get in the ones that you love the most.